What's good, y'all, and welcome to my review for NXT Stand and Deliver 2023. The show just ended, and overall, man, this was a phenomenal show, man. I absolutely loved this show, man. It was incredible. Yeah, probably one of the best, NXT Stand and Delivers we've gotten recently. This might actually end up being my favorite one since the 2.0 revamp. I don't know for sure. I probably not. I'm pretty sure maybe the first one I gave it a 10. I don't remember. But whatever the case may be, this show was phenomenal nonetheless, man. So, yeah. So let's just jump in. Now, first off, we're going to start up with the kickoff show. And the only reason why I'm bringing up the kickoff show is because that's where the Chase U match was on the kickoff show. I don't know why it was put on the kickoff show, considering, the storyline in it. Chase U is a very popular team. Schism has also been doing really well as well. You think a show like this, especially when you're trying to get Schism over in NXT, you would think that this would be on the main card. But it wasn't, for whatever reason. And because of that, I didn't know this was on the kickoff show. So when this show wake up live, because I set my alarm for like 9 o'clock, 9:30. I woke up around 9:30ish, ready to start, Stand and Deliver. I then start seeing some stuff on Twitter, and then I go check, and I find out the Chase. Then when I go put it up on Peacock, get the match right, thinking it's going to just be the pre-show or the show just hasn't started yet. I see the ending of the Chase U match, so I had to go back after the show was ended to rewatch it to see what I missed. So yeah, don't know why this was on the kickoff show. You had to put a match on the kickoff show. I think you would have been better off just putting the women's match, the women's tag title match on the kickoff show. Not saying that match was bad; they were both pretty good matches, but I definitely like this one a little bit more. Now, granted, you could say I'm biased because you guys know how much I love Chase U, but whatever. If this was on the kickoff show, I don't think it should have been. I think this should have been on the main card, but that's my personal opinion. Anyway, let's just jump right into the Chase U match. First of all, got to talk about Andrew Chase real quick. I like the Jordans he was actually wearing tonight. Were actually the Jordan 7s, which I was kind of surprised by. I thought he only wore Jordan once, but no, he decided to bring out the Jordan 7s for this game. I don't know why. If the Jordan 7s have some significance in LA, maybe, I don't know, that was the first time he played Kobe. He was wearing the Jordan 7s. I don't know. I'm not a sneakerhead like that. If any of you guys are or kind of know the history, maybe why Andrew Chase decided to go with the Jordan 7s instead of just rocking with his Jordan 1s or some variation of them, leave it all in the comments. Or maybe you just wanted to wear the Jordan 7s. Maybe you just wanted to switch it up for tonight. Whatever the case may be, he was rocking the Jordan 7s. They looked amazing. So, we started off with him and Zach Gibson. They start off the match, man. And they go at, eventually, of course, we get Tyler Bate in there. And a good chunk of the match is built up the fact that Duke Hudson wasn't getting a lot of screen time in the match. He wasn't getting tagged in. A lot of the time, it was just Andre tagging in Tyler Bate. And we kind of saw that going on in the match. Eventually, of course, Thea tags herself in there. And she wasn't tagged. She tags herself, ready to face off against The Rock's daughter. And I'm like, oh yeah, Thea, let's go. Let's do this. Now, first and foremost, let's talk about The Rock's daughter real quick. First of all, respectfully, she got a nice ass. And secondly, I gotta say, I loved the ring gear, man. Like, not in like, oh yeah, because it like helped shape her ass or tits, nothing like that, man. Like, I genuinely liked her gear. Like, I genuinely thought it looked really cool. I'm not gonna be sipping on it like that. I already did that earlier when I complimented her ass. But yeah, I really liked her ring gear. Now, as you guys, I'm pretty sure this is the first time we've actually seen her wrestle, at least on NXT. I don't know if she has done matches on NXT Level Up, or maybe she's probably done a handful of dark matches on the road while they were touring. But this, I'm pretty sure, is the first time she's actually wrestled on TV, like actual TV that was a main NXT show or a pay-per-view. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, maybe I missed an NXT when she did wrestle, maybe she wrestled earlier, but I'm pretty sure this was her first match. Either way, man, she didn't wrestle that much, only wrestled maybe a couple minutes, had a little scrap with Thea, but she overlooked really good, man. I'm kind of curious to see how she'll develop, considering, The Rock, as great as he was no Kenny Omega in terms of ring work. He was always known for his mic skills, so I'm curious to see how she develops and progresses as her WWE career continues on. If she can be more like her father, more successful on the mic? Is she going to be dealing more better in her mic skills, or is she going to be a better in-ring worker? We'll have to wait and see on that, but overall, she looked really good from the little bits of the match. For the little bit of time she was in the match, she looked really good. So you had them eventually going at it. They continue going at it. Eventually, Duke Hudson does eventually get involved and take out everybody. Like I mentioned before, Thea was going crazy against the Rockstar, which is pretty cool to see. I've been really digging Thea, man. Like, even though she needs to lay off the fucking cocaine or whatever she's on, I really dig dig Thea, man. She's awesome, and I love that little mini thing they were going with her with Schism, where she was kind of like scared shitless of her, and eventually she's now conquered fear, being like, "Come on, bitch, get up at me!" It's really been fun to watch, man. Thea's awesome, man. Like Thea has quickly become one of my favorite parts of Chase U. Like before, it was always just kind of Andre, but like Thea has really grown on me in recent weeks, man. I've been really digging Thea, and Tyler Bate. I think he has been a nice compliment to Chase U in recent weeks as well, man. So they continue on. Eventually, we then get to around the end of the match afterwards, where like everyone else in Chase U is out, and it's just Duke when he's surrounded by the rest of Schism, and then of course Joe Gacy offers him to join Schism, and he eventually does take off the shirt and puts on the Schism shirt. I love the shot they did. They cut to when Andre is like leaning against the ropes and just looking up above and seeing Duke Hudson betray him and go over to Schism. Man, that was pretty shocking. Like this is literally right when I turn on Peacock, it was literally right at this section. I'm like, what the fuck did I miss? I was thinking, like, did I miss the match? What the fuck is going on here? So I really like that shot, man. He would betray Chase U, but then right as Andre's like, whatever, he gets everyone standing up, ready to fight these guys. That's when Duke Hudson rips off the Schism shirt, attacks Schism from behind, and then we get to the give me a C, the whole thing, but with all four members of Chase U with Tyler, which was pretty awesome to see, man. I always loved that. I always loved that shit, man. So yeah, eventually they would win. Chase U would win the match to, of course, retain and be able to control. Once again, continue controlling or continue using Chase U, not giving it up to Schism. Overall, very good match. I really enjoyed this, man. I still think this should have been on the main card, not limited to the pre-show, man. I don't think any match should have been on the pre-show. I don't think it would have added that much more than the match, but I guess because, WrestleMania is coming up on the same night, which, Jesus Christ. I know I mentioned this last year, man, and I was really hoping they weren't going to do it again this year, but please, next year, can we have these on separate nights, bro? I don't need two WWE pay-per-views in one day, man. That's too much wrestling for me. Especially considering I gotta review both. Whatever the case may be, but yeah. Anyway, man, great match overall to start the show off. I was overall a really good match, man, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Then we had the women's ladder match for the NXT Women's Championship between Roxy, Zoe Stark, Gigi Dolan, Indy Hartwell, Lyra, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, Valkyria, and Tiffany Stratton. Now, first and foremost, I have to say this one thing. I would like to make an apology to Tiffany Stratton. I was not familiar with her again. Now, allow me to explain, because and I don't know if I ever mentioned this before in any previous NXT reviews, or if I mentioned this maybe on Twitter when she debuted, but when I first saw Tiffany Stratton, I'm pretty sure she debuted along with everyone else, like, who's that Asian chick that's always in pajamas? I forget her name. Wong something or something Wong. I forget her name. That chick. And all the other major players that would come up for NXT 2.0, like Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes, all those guys. I'm pretty sure she was in there with those guys during that first episode of NXT 2.0. When I first saw her, I was like, oh great, another blonde diva that can't wrestle that's just there for Vince to jerk off to, which could still very well be the case. I mean, this is Vince we're talking about, but, let me continue. One day, a few months ago, I was scrolling through Twitter during NXT. I checked JD's Twitter to see if he was watching it, to see what his thoughts were. And I see a tweet about Tiffany Stratton. And in that tweet, he was praising her. And then when I saw JD praising Tiffany Stratton, I was like, oh, because after that, I never gave a shit about her. Every time she was on TV, more times than not, I wasn't paying attention. I'm going to be real with y'all. But when I saw a tweet from JD, I was like, oh. So I started to pay more attention to Tiffany Stratton. And then what sold me on her was her qualifying match, I think, last week on NXT. That sold me on her. She is a very good pro wrestler. And she looked great in this match as well, man. Like the ladder spot she does looked amazing, man. Shout outs to her, man. And so yeah, Tiffany Stratton, man, she's great. She is a great woman, and I take back every negative thing I may have said about her, man. So yeah, she's great, man. I was wrong I definitely jumped the gun on her and kind of judged her too soon just from the fact of what her gimmick was, and she was blonde, So I apologize, man. I will apologize for that. But, so yeah, she was great in the match, man. Anyway, The match begins. Of course, everyone's just like, you got people punching each other. Then, of course, you got other people going out to grab the ladder. One thing that was actually pretty cool with Indy is that when she was on the outside grabbing the ladder, both Zoe and Tiffany tried to baseball slide, trying to get her to get the ladder to hit her. But Indy actually lifted the ladder up there, then kind of walked back to hit them both in the ladder. But then Valkyria came in there and did the baseball slide to hit Indy. Another thing I gotta say is I gotta talk about my girl Roxy real quick. First of all, I loved her gear, man. I love how she kind of had some white in her hair as well. I wouldn't be surprised if that was hair extension she put in, but I loved her gear, man. You guys know I mentioned this at Vengeance Day. I thought her gear, at least the arm thing she was wearing, looked kind of ridiculous, and once she finally ditched them, her gear looked much better. The arm things looked way better in this match without all the ruffles on them. They looked way better. They looked really nice, man. I overall loved her gear, man, and I overall just love Rox, man. She's really cute, man. She's quickly she's quickly become one of my favorites on NXT 2.0 along with Cora J as well. Yes, partially because they are both very fine women, especially Cora, man. But they are both very good pro wrestlers. I think they both have a lot, and they both have a lot of upside. And they can do a lot of business, especially Roxy. I think Roxy is really. I think between the two, I think Roxy is probably the better wrestler so far. But both of them are great, man. And yes, they also are fine as hell. So that's also another reason why I am invested in them. Hey, man, I'm a straight dude. Come on, come on now. I mean, just look at him. Anyway, so you had another spot with Roxy where she was I think it was with Tiffany as well. When Tiffany was climbing the ladder, she was acting grabbing onto her boot, trying to push her down with gravity, which was a pretty cool looking spot as well. There was also this other spot where Roxy did a Hurricane Rana on Zoe Stark and got her and I believe Valkyria in the corner and hit double European uppercuts on both of them. That spot looked really cool. Another really clean looking spot was you had Gigi actually doing the helicopter ladder thing, although I'm pretty sure she tripped on Zoe or somebody because she did kind of fall over a little bit and then continue on because I'm pretty sure she tripped on one of the ladies when they got hit. One of them looked cool where Roxy she dodged it originally but then ended up getting hit in the back of the head anyway. But back to what I was saying. There, you had Valkyria hanged up on one of the ladders that were draped over the turnbuckle. She was stuck in there, and then Zoe goes, and then Zoe hit a super kick on Gigi. Gigi kind of moves over by the ladder, and then as Zoe's charging right towards him, Gigi gets out of the way and instead hits a crossbody onto Valkyria. That looks really cool, man. Eventually, as the match progresses on, Indy would eventually make her attempts to go on the ladder, which she always took her sweet-ass time getting up there. Eventually, Zoe would eventually hit her in the midsection with the ladder, which Indy would be selling for the remainder of the match. And then eventually, after Gigi tried to go for the ladder and Jessie Jane came in there and pushed her off there, which honestly, I thought she was going to grab the title. I don't know if any of y'all thought this, but when I saw her up on the ladder, I honestly thought she was going to grab the title, honestly, and just steal the match. But she didn't. She handled her business and then got the fuck out. But eventually, man, as the match progresses on there, we of course had that last spot I mentioned earlier with Tiffany Stratton, man. And then of course, India would once again try to go for the ladder after everyone was knocked out of the ring. She can't get over there because of her midsection, and that is when Dexter Lumis comes out, man, and helps her up, putting her on his shoulders, climbing up the ladder for her to win the championship. Now, first of all, one thing I gotta mention, I'm pretty sure Roxy didn't know she was on camera because she kind of broke character because, well, everyone's kind of selling and everything about from the Tiffany Stratton spot. You see Roxy have this massive smile on her face as she's looking up at Indy on the ladder. Obviously, I'm sure she's happy for her friend that she won the belt, but I'm like, woman, the camera's on you. I kind of chuckled when I saw that, man, because it was very quick, too. It was kind of a blink and you miss it kind of thing, man, but I noticed that, man. I couldn't help but chuckle over when I saw this massive smile on Roxanne after she lost her title. But the main thing I wanted to quick about here is that I'm actually kind of surprised that this was the ending, because I thought with all the hoops they were jumping through with Roxy after she collapsed on NXT Roadblock, and she had that whole segment with Sean about her anxiety and everything and how she wants to be in this match. I thought all of this was leading to her retaining the championship, and her overcoming the odds, her becoming getting concussed, and her anxiety, yeah, people with anxiety, rise up and all that shit. But no, Indy won the title. I was kind of surprised by this, and now I'm not against this. You guys know me. I love Indy. I love her in the way, man. Yeah, it's a lot in the way, man. And of course, you guys know how much I loved Index. But I was also kind of surprised by this one. I'm not going to say this was the wrong call because I don't think it is, because I did want it, because I also have really wanted to see Indy win the championship. And But I also think Roxy should have kept it on for a little bit longer, and I feel like she could have. There's more she could have done with the championship than she got, man. That's kind of why I'm kind of little iffy on this decision. But overall, I am happy for Indy, and I think this does officially mean that every member of the Way has obtained gold in some form or fashion, which I think is pretty fucking cool, man. That now every member. Oh wait, no, never mind. She also had Candice and Indy had the women's tag titles. Now they're remembering, man. So she already the Way already had championship, but this is her first singles champ. So I think no, then Candice hasn't never won the women's title either. So whatever. You guys get my point. You know, they've all gotten gold in one way or another, and I'm happy for Indy that she is now the NXT Women's Champion. I'm definitely curious to know where they're going to go with this. Maybe we're going to see some matches between her and Roxy. That would be pretty cool, man. I'm curious to see what they're going to do with Indy now she's a champion, man. Maybe we're going to see more of Index, perhaps, on NXT, which would be pretty cool, but we'll have to wait and see on the man. Either way, man, I'm happy for Indy that she won the championship, and overall, this was a great match, man. A great women's ladder match to start the show off. So next up was the tag title match between Gallus, the Creed brothers, and of course, Tony D! Tony D and Stacks, man. This was another great match as well. Very enjoyable match. You guys know I love Tony D. I very much do enjoy the Creed brothers. Gallus, I'm kind of indifferent towards, but I don't watch NXT UK. But, you know, they're whatever. Anyway, start the match off, you know, we got, of course, you know, Julius showing sports, getting fist bumps with everyone. Then, of course, you know, Tony D tries to go for a fist bump on, I think it was Wolfgang or Mark Coffey for it, but then he just starts attacking him. They start going at it eventually. There was this one spot that I thought was really interesting where Tony D got up, Julius up in a suplex position, but then somehow spins him in midair. Like, I don't know what fucking wizardry he pulled off this. I don't know if this was all Julius doing this, but somehow he lifts him up. The next thing I know, Julius is spinning in the air until he hits the ground. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know how he did this. I don't know what he did to make that work, but it looked amazing regardless, man. Eventually, Stacks would eventually get some offensive in there. He would start going nuts, hitting a double foot stomp onto Mark Coffey on the outside, and then rushed over to go and hit a standing senton, if I remember correctly. You know the move that Bray Wyatt does where he like jumps, where like his opponent's on the ground, he runs towards him and jumps, and it's back first on the mix. I think that's a standing senton, if I remember correctly, or might be thinking of another move. But, you know, correct if I'm wrong on the cuts. Either way, he hits that, but he ends up kind of overshooting it a little bit on Joe Coffey, man. That's not the only time there would be someone overshooting in the match. The match would continue on. Eventually, Julius Creed would get Wolfgang and Stacks up on top of his shoulder, which, my God, the weight of that, I'm kind of surprised he was able to lift both those guys at once. And so he's kind of, and then you have Brutus Creed going in there going for the cannonball, but he misses. He missed by like a good, like I think 4 inches is how much he missed from where they actually were. And I think Stacks was actually trying to grab at him to maybe like help his fall a little bit. Which, speaking of falls, this is another spot from the women's match I forgot to mention that I thought was really cool. Where I believe it was Tiffany Stratton on the apron, and Valkyrie hit a shotgun drop kick on her, and you could actually see Indy actually like grabbing her and they fell down to the ladder. Which looked pretty cool when you saw it. It also looked kind of cool. But yeah, so you had that eventually. Joe Coffey would eventually run interference, and Gallus would eventually win the match. Overall, a very good tag team match with a couple botches on it, but hey, you know, it is what it is, man. but overall, still a great match, man. And then we had the fatal 5-way match for the North American title between Wes Lee, Jordan Devlin, Ilya Dragunov, Dragon Lee, and Axiom. And Jesus fucking Christ, man. Whoever produced this match, give that man a fucking raise, bro. Like, this might actually be the greatest fatal 5-way match I've ever seen, bro. Like, first of all, this match was easily worthy of the Takeover moniker, which makes sense given three of the 5 guys in here rep the black and gold when that was a thing. But like, the synchronization of these 5 men is astounding. I don't even know how they're able to pull half this shit off and say so perfectly in sync with one another. Like, if this shit was fucking Ava, bro, like, they would have perfect synchronization doing the fucking cartwheels and shit, like Shinji and Asuka, minus, you know, the dancing montage. I don't know if this reference works. I haven't watched anything Ava related in years, but fuck it, we're going with it, bro. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, and they had 100% synchronization, man. Like, it was insane. Like, I'm not even gonna try to actually like recap this match because I will not be able to do it justice. I'm just gonna tell y'all some of my favorite spots. First of all, I loved how the match started off where you have all 5 guys on the corner. Wesley is in the middle, and he's like, "All right, come on." He's like, pointing at different people, trying to direct traffic. And then like I think it was like Dragon Lee goes up and get punches Jordan Devlin, and they start going at it. Well, Wesley's kind of in the background, just being like. Just not knowing what to do, and then it's just Axiom and Dragon Lee with them, and Wesley in there, and he's kind of like pointing at both of them, being like, So then they kind of go at it. Wesley goes to the outside. We have a little exchange between Axiom and Dragon Lee that were with the Lucha chant breaking out, man. That looked really cool, man. You had Wesley going for a dive over the top rope onto Jordan Devlin, but he ends up pulling a Samoa Joe and just walks out of the way, man, which is pretty funny to see. Alien Dragunov was hitting some like super rapid fire chop onto Dragon Lee, and you got Booker T on cover like, yeah, put some hot sauce on it. I love Booker T on commentary, man. He's great, man. Like, y'all want to know why I'm always called Daniel Bryan D. Bryan? It's because of him when he was doing commentary for SmackDown back in 2012, man. He always called him D. Bryan and just stuck with me, man. Like, I love Booker on commentary, man. He's great. That's been, like, one of the best parts about this new revamp with NXT since they switched over to the white and gold has been Booker T on commentary. Like, obviously, I would prefer if they went back to Morrow and Nigel or just brought back Nigel, because, I love Nigel, but, hey, Booker's been amazing in his own right, man. So you had him hitting these rapid fire chops. One of the scenes that like really perfectly shows just how synchronized these guys were, where Jordan Devlin is on the outside on the apron. He hits a massive kick on Dragunov. Then Wesley tries to go after him. He kind of like counters his move. Then Dragon Lee slides underneath him while Jordan Devlin jumps over him while he's sliding under him. Goes on the second rope, bounces off that, hits a moonsault on both of them, bro. I was like, how do you make sure y'all are in sync for this, bro? Like, how? Like, I swear to God, man, like, there were so many spots like that in the match, man. Another part that was really cool was when Jordan Devlin went for the pin on Wesley. Ilya Dragunov took a play out Velveteen Dream's playbook and stopped the ref's hand right before he went to count to 3. That was pretty cool. They have a nice, intense face-off between Jordan and Dragunov, man, that looked really fucking cool. Eventually, like, Axiom and Wesley and, Dragon Lee pop up on the corners next to them, and he kind of just backs away, and all 3 of them hit shotgun drop kicks on him. That looked pretty insane, man. Like, oh my god. There's another spot where where there was some cool stuff where I think it was Wesley and Axiom going into doing some like grappling, trying to like get out of each other's holds. It was Dragunov because of what happened later. Where then after he like locks in a submission, or I think it was Axiom. Now I think about it, locked in a submission on Dragunov. Eventually, he starts grabbing at Jordan Devlin, locks him in like a headlock while he's like trying to do like this abdominal stretch or something, and then he's just kind of looking at them both like, what the fuck is going on? Like, bro, there were so many insane spots in this match, man. It was insane. There was also another spot where Wesley hit a Hurricane Run on Dragunov, and Dragunov sold it beautifully, where he just went headfirst right into the turnbuckle, man. That looked pretty cool as well. But anyway, Wesley wins the match with the cardiac kick, if I remember the name correctly, for the 1, 2, 3, man. Like, I did not do this match justice. There were plenty of other spots I'm sure I'm forgetting about that were amazing this match, man. But good lord, if you haven't watched the show yet, there's one match I want y'all to recommend. Well, there's 3 honestly, but like this is probably the one match you just have to see, man. You just have to see it with your own eyes, man. Like, this match was incredible to watch. This was a work of art, man. Good lord, what a match. Then next up we had was Johnny Gargano, Johnny Wrestling, Johnny fucking Takeover versus Grayson Waller. This was obviously match of the night for me personally, man. Y'all know how much I love Johnny, and this is probably going to be the last time we were going to see him on an NXT show. And my God, did this man go out with a bang, bro. Like, first of all, let's talk about his gear, because you guys know Johnny always goes big with his gears. For these shows. Now, this time, I was expecting, like, oh, what Marvel character going to do this time, or whatever he's going to do. So it seems like this time he went for more, Shawn Michaels-inspired gear, considering his logo kind of reminiscent of Shawn's, like, Broken Heart thing was rocking, like, back in the 90s and everything. So it seems like he was kind of a little bit more Shawn Michaels-inspired for that, which it seems like you can actually have that logo as, like, a shirt, because Candace was wearing it, so hopefully that means that the shirt's actually for sale, and you can buy it on WWE Shop. I don't know, I haven't checked yet, but, looked cool. So the match starts off fast and furious. First of all, you have Johnny instantly hitting Grayson Waller with a super kick while he was holding like a chair, and then he like throws him onto the outside and does a suicide dive. Then after he gets a suicide dive, he then yeets this dude all the way over the announce table. Grayson ends up hitting Booker T, and like Vic is checking Booker. Hey, Booker, you good? After that guy like get out of the way, but like the bounce this man gets when he lands on the chair and gets thrown right back in there, bro, was insane, bro. So they keep going at it for a while. The top of the announcement table goes off, which you can actually see that there are like 5 packs of Skittles scattered about the desk, which I thought was kind of weird. Like, bro, what's with those Skittles? I don't know. Maybe Vic chose like to snack on some Skittles while he's commentating. I don't know. I just noticed like 5 packs of Skittles on the announcement. That I just thought that was kind of funny. So they keep going at it. They're going all over the place. Johnny would eventually they would like throw in some like trash cans and everything. Johnny would go for a suicide dive onto the outside, but then Grayson Waller then just yeets the trash can lid right to Johnny's face, which first of all I gotta ask, was Chris Benoit's spirit producing this match? Like, bro, like that suicide dive, bro, like the amount of head trauma in this match is insane, bro. I'm like, yo, did Chris Benoit's spirit produce this match with all these like headshots going on there with chairs and like trash can lids and everything, bro? Because that wasn't the only time we would actually see some direct chair shots to the head in this match, ladies and gentlemen. No sirree. So after that, Grayson Waller sets up like all these like steel chairs and kind of like puts them right next to each other. Eventually, Johnny would use them and does a suplex onto the steel chairs. It looked pretty nasty. I think Johnny might have botched it a little bit because it doesn't seem like he was able to get Grayson up all the way as much as he wanted to, and the land looked a little off. I don't know if it could have just been the way it was shot, but that kind of looked a little off to me. They keep going at it. Eventually, Grayson would actually when it starts talking off to Candice, he grabs a steel chair and then throws Johnny onto the steel steps and is about to hit him with a steel chair while Johnny's head is on steel steps. Johnny manages to avoid it. He kicks him, gets him out of the way, and then that's when Candice hands over the baby, hands over Quill to this random ass woman. I don't know who the fuck this bitch is. I don't know. Maybe she's like Johnny or Candice's sister or something. I don't fucking know. If you guys know in the comments, please tell me. But he hands her over to him, or to her rather, him over to her, excuse me, jumps over the barricade, grabs the kendo stick Johnny was carrying, and then she starts beating the shit out of Grayson Waller with the kendo stick, bro. It looked absolutely insane, bro. She was going up. And then once you see later on in the match and you see the welt on his body, bro, Candice was putting her fucking back into those shots, man. It was absolutely insane. But as the match progresses onwards, eventually Grayson would end up catching it, and there's been this weird thing that's kind of been bugging me with how Candice has been booked in this feud, where everyone on commentary and Candice herself, kind of in a sense, all act like she's some delicate flower that will instantly disintegrate if Grayson so much breathes on her when she was wrestling grown-ass men on the indies. Am I the only one that felt this kind of odd? Like when Johnny was getting beat up at his home, I was looking at Candice Candice, do something, help out your man. Why are you just standing there? And then you kind of got this where she's going back away. Vic is losing his damn mind on commentary. I'm like, bro, she wrestled grown-ass men on the indies. Why are y'all acting like she's gonna instantly disintegrate? She ain't some delicate flower, bro. She can take a punch. She's a tough woman. I don't know if anyone else felt that was odd, but I did, man. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But eventually, Johnny would, of course, stop him for anything keeps going on there. Johnny would eventually bring in the table, which Grayson would powerbomb him through eventually. Before he actually does. Do you know that rolling stunner he does when he jumps over the bottom rope? He did that, but done it over the tailman, which looked pretty cool. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So he eventually gets him back in the ring. One final beat. 1, 2, kick out. I was actually kind of surprised that was a kick out. That was near fall, because I thought the match was going to be over there. But anyway, you had, like I mentioned before, the table spot happen. You, of course, like I mentioned before, Johnny already did the chair shot. There's another chair spot where Johnny would grab, it was Grayson Waller suplexing Johnny onto this one single chair that instantly compresses against his weight once he lands on it, bro. Looked pretty nasty. But then, once the camera crew got the announce table reorganized, Grayson Waller once again throws off the top, clears it out again, and This poor announce table, man. The announce table should be inducted to the Hall of Fame with the amount of shit it has to put, with the amount of shit it goes through, man. But anyway, he puts Johnny on the table, puts the compressed chair on top of him, goes over to the top rope, ready to do like a dive off of it or a splash on Johnny onto the announce table. But then Johnny yeets the chair right into Grayson Waller's face. Like I said, bro, it was Chris Benoit's spirit producing this match with the amount of head trauma in this. But that wasn't the last chair, the major chair spot. Oh, no. As the match continues on, you had Grayson Waller hit a coast to coast while Johnny had like a trash can over him that looked pretty sick. That was pretty cool. But what the craziest spot in the match was, this is around the end of the match. Johnny grabs a steel chair, puts it over Grayson Waller's head while it's just kind of dagging around like his neck and everything. Grabs another chair, hits that chair. It spins all over the goddamn place, spinning Grayson with them. And then eventually he locks him in the Gargano escape to win the match. Fucking insane, man. I absolutely love this match. I already mentioned like that chair spot where like the spinning chair. That one was pretty insane, man. Not gonna lie. But yeah, this was match of the night for me, man. I fucking loved it. I was engrossed and from start to finish, man. And this might actually be my favorite Johnny Gargano takeover match, you want to call it, since the 2.0 rebranding, I think. This match was incredible, man. This was easily Grayson Waller's best match. He looked incredible. Giant was amazing as always, man. Just a phenomenal match in general. 7 stars I would give this. So then we had the women's tag title match between Fallon Henley, Kiana James, and Kaylee Ray with Isla Dawn, which I already mentioned this a little bit at the start of the review, which was an overall good match. But I feel like this, if you had to put a match on the pre-show for NXT, which NXT never usually has done matches on the pre-show, so I don't know why they started now. I don't know. Like I said, maybe it was a time thing. They wanted to make sure they gave people enough time to go from this show to WrestleMania or something. I don't fucking know. Whatever the case may be on that, ladies and gentlemen, whatever. This match was fine, but I think this, if you were going to put a match on the pre-show, it should have been this one. Because I did like the Chase U match a little bit more. But this match was also pretty good in its own right. Of course, I've been really digging the storyline with Fallon and, Brooks and, Kiana James. And like, wanting Brooks to get the girl, but the girl's like leading him on, kind of cheating on him and all this stuff. Like, and Fallon's trying to get her to confess, but she never does. She's like, oh, I got us a tag title match. Or, oh, I did this, and everything. And then when we get to the end of the match, bro, that's sad. Man was giving her, bro. Damn. But anyway, so these two are going at it. They were doing a thing. Eventually, once we reach the end of the match, Kiana James is like asking Brooks to give her her bag because I don't know, she has something in there that would use as a weapon. And and Josh is like telling him like, "Don't do it! Don't you fucking do it! Don't do it!" Like he's trying to stop him from doing. He eventually does it, but of course, this gives the distraction, gives Kaylee Ray and Isla Dawn enough time to go and hit their finisher. But then as the ref's counting, actually Brooke actually tries to get into the ring to just try to stop the pinfall when that would just cause a disqualification. So either way, they lose the match. But then again, they would keep the titles because champion's advantage. So I guess Brooks was actually thinking a little bit of ahead. But either way, Josh stops him, and they lost the belts regardless, man. So yeah. Good match overall. Definitely curious to see how much farther the storyline goes with Brooks and everything, man. It's going to suck when he finds out, man, because I don't want to see Brooks' heart get broken, man, but it is what it is. Man needs to know, man. Fallon got to do what she got to do, man. He needs to know, man, but we'll go on Central Cast. We'll find out more on NXT. Then we finally have the main event between Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes. First and foremost, man, the little video package they played right before this, kind of giving us the history between these two guys, was hilarious because Carmelo Hayes goes on about heaviness, like heavy's the head that wears the crown or some shit, however the saying goes, and then at the end of it he says, "So give me my fucking crown." Bro, when I heard that on NXT, as well as here, man, bro, I just can't help but crack up, man. That was the only time I was cracking up during this match. First of all, I fucking love that Melo's shirt this time was a reference to Eminem's Kill Shot single, when his diss track to Machine Gun Kelly, man. I love that's kind of a spot homage to that one with the Lakers color, and I thought that was a nice touch with Braun Breaker's face, of course, man. And so, once again, you got Trick Williams doing his, hyping him up, man, which I kind of hope this kind of stays as a thing, man, because I've been really digging this, where Trick Williams just hypes up Carmelo Hayes right before the match, and he has like the jerseys and everything. It's really cool, man. I fucks with it. Also, during his graphic, he actually had his logo with like the Lakers logo on it. That's pretty cool, as well as his colors, rocking the number 8 on one of his knee pads, of course, reference and an homage to Kobe Bryant. So that was cool. So then we get Braun Breaker's entrance, and man, his graphic right before he comes out says, "I got that dog in me." which also cracked me up, but that wasn't the last time I would be bursting out laughing. No, sir. Because as the match begins and they start up going at it, eventually Braun is down on his knees and he just starts barking at Carmelo Hayes, kind of like sliding over to him as Melo's like backing away and then goes on and then sits on the top rope as Braun Breaker just goes like, bark, 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 bark. It was the funniest thing of the entire night, man. I was like, bro, what am I watching? I mean, the man wasn't lying when he said he had that dog in him. He really does. That shit was funny, man. That shit was fucking funny. So they continue on. Melo eventually tries to go for a crossbody off the second rope onto Carmelo Hayes, but he actually ends up slipping. Now, given how many multi-man matches there were in the match, those ropes had to have been slippery as hell. So that was probably the reason why he slipped. He tries again, but then Braun no-sells and just shoulder tackle, and then just like shoulders tackles into him, man. And then Carmelo just falls flat on his face or flat on his back like a bag of potatoes. They continue on. Eventually, Braun Breaker would get him up on his shoulder. Then Trick Williams would try and like push him away, push him off of Braun Breaker. This would of course get get the ref to ban him from ringside, send him to the back, and then actually this shot, I don't know Braun Breaker would do this. I don't know if he's done this in previous matches, I just forgot or what. But then he leaps over the top rope and then lands right on top of Trick Williams and Melo. I did not know this man had that kind of agility on him, man. That was pretty insane to see. So they keep going at it, man. You also of course had Braun Breaker doing the whole thing with like trick that Melo does with like, I shoot and I don't miss kind of thing. That was pretty funny as well. Eventually, as they're going at it, Braun would hit a spear onto Melo, which of course the Gargano also hit the ref as well. He locked him in what looked to be like the Colossus. Looked to be like the Colossus. And Melo starts tapping, but of course there's no ref, so it doesn't happen there. That's when Trick Williams, comes in there, hits him in the back of the head with the title. Then he like drags Melo on top of him. Gets the ref to finally wake up. 1, 2, kick out. I was actually kind of surprised by that the match continued on from here because I thought the match was over. Eventually Melo would hit with nothing but net to, of course, win the match. Phenomenal match as well, man. If I had to rank them, it would definitely be Johnny Gargano versus Grayson Waller, the Fatal 5-Way for the North American title, and then this match. Definitely. That would be my top 3, man. This match was incredible in its own right, man. And yeah. So yeah. That was my review for Stand Deliver, man. I got about an hour before WrestleMania Night 1 starts, so that's pretty good timing. But anyway, guys, overall, my final verdict for Stand Deliver is going to be a 9.5 out of 10, guys. As always, your thoughts below in the comments, guys. What you guys saw the show, what was your favorite, what was your match of the night, all that good stuff, man. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like if you did, subscribe if you're new. Follow me on my socials if you feel like it. Links down below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time.